Hi everyone, welcome once again to the 24-Bit podcast. This is our first episode of 2023, and with me as always I have the usual suspects.
Dickson, Otieno, Techish.
And Kanali from Tech Trends.
I'm Chenze Emmanuel. You can find some of what I write about tech at 𝐭𝐿𝐴𝐻.com. And being the first episode of the year, we have so much in store for you this year. But we are going to start the year by looking at what the month has been. We are going to make this a monthly trend where at the end of every month we look back, or at the start of a new month we look back at the previous month and some of the things that we covered on our blogs individually, collectively, as well as even talked about here on the podcast. Some of the latest happenings in tech, locally, internationally. There are lots of pressing issues, there are lots of exciting developments, all those things. So today, in our first trends episode of 2023, we're going to look at some of the things that made headlines in January 2023, which are a good pointer to how much of the year will be spent, especially the first quarter of the year. So first things first, gentlemen, we started the year with money being taken out of our pockets. We had M-Pesa charges coming back, like the transaction fees coming back effective January 1st, 2023. So that was the charges that you get billed when you send money from your M-Pesa to a pay bill belonging to a financial institution, that's a bank or a SACCO. And then also normally you get billed a certain fee when you send money from your bank account to a mobile money account. So that's either M-Pesa, Telkom, T-Cash, or Airtel Money. So those charges came back at the start of the year. And then along the way, we had some High Court ruling suspending those charges, even though there hasn't, like, as far as I know from press reports, only _ABSA has badged and suspended their charges. Everyone else has kept their charges.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was paying some of myself for the other week with using the app, and I still got deducted 180 for the charge.
Interesting. Now you had it here first. Because I was reading the Business Daily the other day when they were doing a compilation of the banks that have complied with that High Court ruling, and it was only ABSA, as per their report, that had complied and was no longer charging. But that report wasn't exactly accurate because they listed Stanchart there being one of those that was charging people. Yet Stanchart actually didn't effect the new rates on January 1st like everyone. They effected theirs on 23rd, which is, we're recording this on 24th January. So yesterday is when Stanchart's charges went into effect. I'm a Stanchart customer. I haven't tried their transactions, so I don't know if they really went into effect or they are holding off their houses. But the explanation from the other banks, starting with Equity, that BD got was that they're waiting for commentary from, for direction from the industry regulator, that is the Central Bank of Kenya. Because here is how this works. The Central Bank of Kenya is the financial services industry regulator, and these services actually financial in nature, much as their tech and all of that. And it's the central bank that got these people to suspend these charges when the pandemic came, as a way of alleviating the stress that businesses and people are suffering from the effects of the pandemic. And then it's the central bank that towards the end of last year brought these same people together and told them it's allowing them to bring charges, but they need to be cheaper. So they need to cut them, to cut the transaction charges. So I want to hear, in the wake of that backdrop, what are your reactions to this, or what are your readers saying?
Do you know actually, as actually today, and I think even you've seen that, there's a report on Business Daily on the same that was saying, about, banks in Safaricom are now free to collect cash transfer fees. Yeah. So it's like, they basically made up their, their mind now. I mean,
I think the court order was up to yesterday. So from today, the transaction charges should be officially back, because there was a court order that reversed the decision by CBK to introduce charges until the hearing starts, and it wasn't extended past yesterday. So from today, all banks should be charging transaction charges for transfers.
Because the article I'm reading on Business Daily says the CBK, through senior counsel George Oraro, opposed the extension of the order, arguing that the regulator and the banks were yet to be made part of the case, hence difficult to comply with the order. So the charges still stand. Yes, as far as I know.
As far as we are talking right now, there's still charges when you're moving money from your bank to M-Pesa and from M-Pesa to bank.
and this is because the person went to court. All the orders is seeking a backfiring on technicalities. Basically, the first time the judge refused to suspend because he went to court just before the turn of the new year. So the judge refused to suspend the going into effect of the new rates, arguing that the parties in that case hadn't been served, so they couldn't respond. And then, but gave orders, I think the following week, that the charges be held up until when the case comes up for hearing on the 23rd.
Yeah.
But then when the 23rd came, the interested party in this case was supposed to give the players in the industry direction, CBK. Apparently, they hadn't been served or made parties in that case. So the judge declined to further the extension. So as it is, it's if you're a lawyer and you're listening to this is probably your fault. You can tell us what's going on here. But as it is, the collection of the transaction fees continues unabated. I think all of us have done pieces on how much it costs to transact. And yeah, as far as things go, that's it. You're going to pay.
But of course, I mean, we all expected this to happen. I mean, the free transfer was not happening to me. I mean, it wasn't going to be a forever thing. I mean, at some point, the fees are going to be dropped because are we done with the pandemic yet? I mean, we are past the pandemic now, of course. Banks, and remember how Safaricom said how when the charges were dropped, how it really affected their revenues. When they were releasing their report, the financial report the other time, they were talking about how a huge chunk of course.
But I think we already proved that these businesses can operate without those transactions.
Yes.
They still make profits because more people have joined mobile money. More people are now using banking as a solution
And the
to mobile
transaction
money.
rates have gone.
Yes,
higher.
and the transaction volume is way higher. So,
in fact, to the point where KRA thinks all of us sought to use that as a basis to be taxed or something.
Yeah. Some people are arguing that now maybe, with this happening, we're going to be seeing a lot of people now going back to the cash economy, a lot of cash now moving around.
Yeah,
I don't think people are just saying that it's happening. Because this year, never in my life have I had my trousers washed and there was cash in the trousers. But this year, there's cash in the trousers because when I want to pay something, seme inje, I used to use seme tukwa mama mboga nini when you're buying groceries. You'll always si bank to M-Pesa is free. I'll send you money. So now I don't want to do that because it's 14 bob, it's 15 bob, it's 30 bob. It's for very small amounts of transfers, you're charged very highly. So for now, mimi nita withdraw cash. It's cheaper to withdraw and spend that rather than
because when you put together those to 14 bobs, I mean that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, but on the other hand, my argument will still be the same. The charges could still go lower or could be non-existent.
Yes.
These institutions would just survive, really, because it's think about it like if I transacted with my card every other time and I get billed, you know how ridiculous that is.
Yes.
But if you're young and you're listening to this podcast, actually that used to happen. I've shopped at Nakumat and paid using my COP card and been billed a transaction fee. That used to happen. Like it
used to attract charges.
Yeah, and actually when you leave this country, it's one of those culture shock experiences. Yes. You go somewhere abroad, especially in these white countries, card transaction fees are there. Anyway, it's a longer discussion. Maybe sometime this year, maybe when we see the cause of the court case, we'll come back and have an entire episode discussing.
But my main argument that I always write remains that if you want people to transition from using cash to going digital, you have to make sure that the new platform makes sense. If I'm paying via cash to someone, there's no transaction charge. Why is it when I'm sending the same cash over a simple SMS, there should be charges? Anyway, yeah.
Good. And that was not the only kind of news that was affecting Safaricom that we got from January. There's another one. Also on 1st January, we had Bongo Points that were older than 3 years, that is, that were acquired and accrued before December 2019, had expired the previous day on New Year's Eve. At least as far as the terms on Safaricom's website said, as far as the news reporting we did and others did said, so Bongo Points zingine zili expire. But then
a few weeks in,
few weeks in, there was a Business Daily report that was basically who said yeah, sisi tulisema mimi. So you remember that meme? Yeah. There's been an about turn, and if you have to go back and check your app, if you have any of those older points, they should be back. Even though Safaricom had 2 pages with the terms and conditions. There was the media-centered one, and there's the one where they just put their terms. The former, the deleted mention of expiry. The latter, the media-facing one, still has mentions of expiry. So at this point, you are very confused. But that was the news, and your Bongo Points are still there. So if you rushed to redeem them, well and good, you helped them clear their balance sheet. But apparently now you can keep your Bongo Points. So I don't know, what's your take?
I mean, you know the funny thing about this entire debate about Bongo Points, it's like even after the Business Daily article came out, there was no official communication from Safaricom on this turnaround.
On the U-turn, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing.
I am looking for the tweet I did on the website term and condition, because I am sure the website still says the Bongo Points should expire. They have not updated that. So we still don't know. Do they expire? Don't they expire? There's still no official communication, which is weird. Normally, Safaricom always has very robust communication when they change any terms. The website is loading as we are talking. Let me wait and see if they're still expiring.
Anyway, that whole thing never made sense to me. And I asked so many questions on Twitter regarding the same and how it exposed the company to external legal liability. And I think some other people made sense of the same. They were just fine issuing threats. But going ahead to do the things the way they did, there's an argument here that you're not entitled to the Bongo Points. But my counter argument has been, one, I never wanted these things and I never asked for them. But you offered them to me. They stopped belonging to you. But also, if I don't use them, they are a burden to your balance sheet, to your ledger or whatever. And it's in your investors and your shareholders' best interest that we get to use them and all of those. But at the same time, the usage is at my discretion as somebody who has your loyalty points. So I don't know. That's murky. And I think now that because one other development from the new year was it even the new year or it was before the turn of the new year, when parliamentarians signaled that they're going to support Safaricom to explain why some of these things expire. Other telcos to explain why voice, minutes, data do expire. Now that Safaricom has beaten a retreat, we might probably never get to know. But I never thought it was a good idea. Basically, to just open the company to a string of negative PR that was unnecessary.
And actually, the whole idea of just Bongo Points expiring, it's like, first of all, you're not giving them to me for free. I mean, because yes, I spent something to actually get them. So I mean, who has the power to decide what I'm supposed to do with the Bongo Points? I know you're the service provider, yes, but I mean, how? I mean, it's just so. Glad they did the U-turn. So
it was a hasty retreat. I hope it's not a technical one, and we won't have another U-turn. Anyway, another Safaricom story we all covered. Now you can go Fuliza, like you can withdraw your Fuliza cash, because previously you would use your Fuliza limit
to lipa na M-Pesa.
To lipa na M-Pesa, like
money.
So basically when you're sending money to someone and you don't have enough, you can just Fuliza there and then, or probably would already Fulized, money will move from your wallet to the other person's wallet. When you're paying for stuff, you'd Fuliza on the spot if your total bill payout was more than your M-Pesa balance, or if you had already Fulized, you just directly pay from your wallet, but there was no option to withdraw. Now you can withdraw Fulized money. So this works. Who has tried it? Like when I go to an agent, I can say I'm going to withdraw 5k, but I only have 1k, and I'll automatically get, if my limit allows, get the prompt to add the 4k, right?
Yes.
And if I had already Fulized, I can just get my 4k out.
Ideally, that's how it should work. I've never tried it. I don't know.
But potentially,
I've used Fuliza once when Loop decided to embarrass me. So
we are getting to Loop because it's embarrassing all of us.
So that's when I used Fuliza and it worked. I have never used Fuliza to
withdraw. But does this potentially make Fuliza now a loan product?
But fully,
it's always been a loan
Yes.
product.
No, but the
You know,
Safaricom says it's not.
No, I also bought Safaricom's argument at the start, but even from their own reporting of the finances and
Yeah,
the
even-
reporting they've embraced from people like us, they're okay living with it as a loan product. Fuliza is a loan product. It started out as an overdraft
facility,
which was
the
true.
interest.
Which was true. It was an overdraft because the premise of it was I'm going
don't
to
have
pay
a
for
balance.
something the same way Dickson runs a company here, and if at the end of the month he needs to pay his employees and hao watu wote huwa wana to lipa to market some of their products and everything have not paid him his invoices, he can just go to his bank and his bank will tell him, hey, here's money, pay your people. When your invoices are honored, we'll just take our money.
Yes.
Fuliza was like that. But then it was a few months
Daily
later,
maintenance
they revised the terms. No, leave alone the daily maintenance fee. But they revised the terms in such a way that Fuliza was the only product from Safaricom you could access
For 1,000, 2,000 bob.
for 2,000 bob shillings and less, which is the bulk of the request
Yes.
for money.
So M-Shwari no
Yeah.
longer allowed you to get less than.
Because M-Shwari was the loan and savings product, even though most Kenyans know it for its loan credentials. But then you couldn't interact directly with M-Shwari if you request for a Fuliza amount.
Yes.
So if you're looking for mobile loan from Safaricom, it's a Fuliza. So it's essentially a loan.
And the name was a hit. The name
Yeah,
Fuliza was
no,
a
the
hit.
name, wherever, like, well, I hope they pay the creative agency that came with that, they still pay them today, because that was good. Like, it's a one-liner, it's in Swahili, it's easy on the tank, even watu kumispronounce majina ya kila mtu can get it.
But
and
the
it's
funny
nice.
thing is, I hadn't heard of the term Fuliza before that.
Really?
I mean, not in that
Fuliza,
context of
Pirimbi.
like, you know,
Pirimbi.
of the law.
Hiyo ni Puliza.
Kupuliza.
So they
Yeah.
came up with a very nice name in some.
Yeah. It was well thought out. Still on more Safaricom news and expiring things. We are all postpaid users.
I am
or
not.
at least some of us were.
Did
Yeah.
you, Dickson, did you finally switch?
I wrote the article after quitting, say 2 days before. Yeah. And that article was big, but I quit. I was part of Postway because Postway was where I could pay you guys to ensure I have minutes and ensure I have data. So I don't care if I've used the data within that month. I just need it to always be there. So once they change the terms and your minutes will no longer carry forward,
Yes.
your data will only carry forward if you renew and all that, it made no sense. I'd rather buy the data when I need it now.
Good. Nick, have you umetuacha me still?
No, but Nico, I'm still stuck on the 1,000 bob, package, which I'm not sure. I'm torn. I'm not sure if actually I should.
For me, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back.
I mean,
to
what
Postway.
options are you on right now?
I have my 3,000 minutes that will not be touched, I hope. They're built up over time. So I'll keep using that. In terms of data, I'll just be buying the 𝐭𝐞𝐜𝐡 offers when I need data. Because I wasn't using data particularly a lot. I work from home.
Yeah.
I pay Safaricom for internet. So that's okay.
Or can anyone use this?
I think
new
Safaricom did
package
not
that-
think that some of us were only paying for Postpay because of the convenience that
Yeah.
I have data whenever I need it to be
I-
there. Yeah. So that was a term change that I did not
And actually, the reason I'm also stuck is because I come from my home area. It's just, I mean, we have very poor network. I'm always on 3G when I'm in my home area in Kitale. So Safaricom comes actually as a savior because, you know, I can't use Telcom, I can't use Airtel. But of course, okay, anyway.
Mimi, I really marketed Postpay.
I know.
I wrote so many articles on Postpay and why it made sense. And I really wanted to see Postpay grow. I wanted to see Postpay become sort of a finance product where I can be paying Safaricom monthly and get a device. Where I can create a Postpay account for a family. Say we buy the 2,500 package and those minutes are shared between 4 numbers or 3 numbers and all that. But instead they introduced expiries. So
Interesting. I'm still stuck because
You don't have an option.
for the lack of options. I've been laying low over the last like 3 months, but that's not me. The real me will come back. I move around quite a lot, and my mobile data comes in handy, and all of that, and it's why I've kept Postpay. I really don't need the minutes. Minutes zangu ziko karibia 20k. I don't need them. I need data. and unlike Nick, I can't survive on Postpay 1K because 1K gives me 4 GB data,
5 GB data.
5, whatever. I get 3 times that on 2K.
I used
for
to
me,
pay 2K.
For me, the 15 GB makes sense because if I don't move around in a month, I won't exhaust it. If I move around in a month, I'll exhaust it. But how I make up for the deficit is those months where I'm laying low, it accumulates. So it all balances out. I'm
Now
happy
the fact that it is not accumulating.
No. Actually, the data still accumulates and doesn't expire. But your voice minutes, not anymore.
The data only doesn't expire
if you renew. And previously it didn't need a renewal. But that's a good catch.
But you know, actually, Telkom has very nice offers on minutes and
the offers are good, but I go pay to.
No, that's the problem. But actually, Telkom will be actually
because we
are right now
the joy of doing road trips with all of you across this country. We've never lost a Safaricom
signal.
For thousands of kilometers.
Si hapa ni Nairobi metropolitan area. Telkom haiko kwa hii nyumba. I have to go outside to use Telkom.
Those are the masaibu ya watu ambao, if you are like me who's torn about where to go, you can share your feedback. Or if you've, like Dickson, you've made a successful transition elsewhere, or you're out there figuring out how this stuff
just buy 𝐭𝐿𝐴 data when you need it.
You can tell us what options you're exploring and all those things.
How's your experience with 𝐭𝐿𝐴 actually?
Right now I'm subscribed to the one where I give them CG 2K or what, and they give me 3 GB every day. So
I'll be that every day. I wouldn't have anything to do with it, except for the days I live there. But anyway, I've always thought of 𝐭𝐿𝐴 like a very nice product for a bunch of teams.
So once I go home where I need internet, I'll just buy your product. But at home we have very strong Airtel connection for G, and I use they have a bundle where you pay 3K and you're given 60 GB or 50 GB.
Safaricom.
Airtel.
I mean,
so the reason I was on Safaricom Postway was my data builds up. So when I travel home, I have data to use. But now I'll give Airtel that money, because why change a product when it was marketed as never expired, never sijui nini? Unaelewa? Like that about turn was not fair.
Anyway, there's a bunch of depressing news down. But before we get to those, that
wow, depressing.
They're depressing. But before we get to those, let's start with something that has excited the world since around towards the turn of the end of last year, but has picked up the momentum and hogged all the attention since the start of the year. You know what I'm talking about? OpenAI's ChatGPT.
It's being
Yes. I've tried to avoid covering ChatGPT because where's the direct intersection between it and the things I cover day to day on 100 Kenya until it came around. We're hearing ChatGPT is coming into a Bing search. ChatGPT is coming to make Outlook better. It's coming in Office apps. Those are things I use. Those are things I've covered. So obviously, I have 2 ChatGPT related stories on the blog, and we are shooting this the day after OpenAI and Microsoft renewed their partnership for undisclosed multi-billion dollars for undisclosed longer term and all of those things. So thoughts on just ChatGPT?
You know, it's basically AI, and I mean it's AI, not really basically AI, but it's AI. And also what is being, of course we're gonna talk about the layoffs later on, but you've seen about how they're saying how AI is now the cause of these layoffs happening. So I'm really waiting to see, you know, how Microsoft plans to actually implement, you know, so what it's called ChatGPT on its apps and all that.
What I can say is, you remember when Huawei showcased night photography 2017 or 2016?
What
do you remember?
P20?
I don't know the name of the and then everyone on Twitter was like mind blown. Like what can your camera inafanya nini?
I mean, it's like phone.
Yes, a phone can take that photo. And then Pixel did something a few months later where we were shown a photo, how the room actually looks and what photo came from. And nowadays a 15K phone can do that. A 10K phone can do that. Nowadays night photography is on every other phone. I think that's where we are with AI. Sahi tunakuwa mind blown kabisa about something doing this, doing that. And I took AI as a course in uni, so I know
Same.
So what we're doing right now is simple AI. This is not even general or nini. So imagine if simple AI can blow our minds right now like
when
this.
we go deep into
And this is just a product that is out there in the public. Remember, we saw Google's AI in 2014 doing crazy stuff.
You remember that Google I/O where we had, what did they call that product eventually? It's there in the US, but it blew everyone's mind when you had these robots being able to call up a store.
Yes, the Google Assistant that can, it can call, it can receive your calls and do that. But I'm talking about Google AI from 2014. I don't remember the name that was given to it, that managed to beat the best Go player and all that, and could answer and understand context very well. So imagine what Google could be sitting on right now, even as we talk about Microsoft investing in ChatGPT and all that. So I really think there's a lot of AIs that are laying low. I don't know what governments are doing in AI. They could be doing bigger things, especially superpower countries and all that. Yeah. So
I still believe
AI still has so much that's coming for it that we can't even tell right now.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, here's a product that hasn't even taken off. Yes, everyone has heard of ChatGPT trends on Twitter and all that, but it hasn't taken off per se to become confident that they now want to charge people for access and all that. Yeah.
But I still believe companies like Google have the potential to actually build very good AI products.
Google has so much information. Yes.
Google has,
Yeah,
but
DeepMind. That's what I was looking.
Google
Yes.
has DeepMind, which can blow all of us away.
Yes.
But my problem with Google is, Google has lots of PhDs. Actually, for a lot of, if you ever try to get recruited by Google, because they have local recruiters and they've had lots of openings. If you don't have a master's, the chances of getting in there, this is for everyone who's listening. Usidanganya about ignoring school because you're in tech. Please, Soma. Google does hire lots of PhDs and master's people, and a good number of people in the US do work on its AI stuff. They release bits of it in the way we interact with. We use messages on our phone. Messages has some, like, it can pass through your text and know what correct response to suggest. The same thing is built into Messenger, Facebook's Messenger. We have Google Assistant, which is pretty smart and all. But Google hasn't done something as extreme that users can interact with as ChatGPT. And it's kept like all of these PhDs somewhere. We know Google has the most rad stuff as far as this sector goes, but we've never seen it. Then OpenAI, after years of working and taking billions of dollars from investors like Microsoft, decided to just show us a snippet of what they've been working on. They've had GPT 3 out for a while, and we are looking at getting 4. And before that, they've had various iterations of this product. ChatGPT is the first mainstream thing that you could access, and now they're even monetizing it. There's a pro tier to avoid the wait times and all. They've just managed to catch the attention of the common man.
Right now.
For me, that has been the number one basis for this dismissing all this nonsense I hear about crypto. Because if something doesn't make sense to the common man, please continue selling your hot air, leave everyone else out of it. OpenAI has been able to capture their attention
in a few months.
Right now, there are lots of conversations around one of the subjects we are going to talk about shortly. Is maybe it's been caused by ChatGPT, even though that's wrong. But the other chatter is which careers ChatGPT is going to replace and such like. So it's heralded this thinking. Now common man knows what's possible with AI beyond the tiny bits that they don't recognize AI driven. You know, that's the thing Google lost. Even if now it does come blossom with whatever DeepMind stuff they've been working on. As far as I'm concerned, it will always play second fiddle to ChatGPT. And the most reason why they've been, like, if you went to Google right now and Google ChatGPT, you will see everyone is, tech reporters especially, is covering the kind of panic Google is in with regards to responding. And it's okay, because we cover phones here. the industry essentially dismissed the iPhone. It came at its breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dessert, and everything.
And people are now.
So it's okay not to dismiss, to be worried the way Google is. And the one thing is, there's a trend in the West where everyone has a ChatGPT window open, and instead of using Google Chat, they're using ChatGPT.
Yes.
And now Microsoft is going to integrate ChatGPT
to Bing search.
that threatens Google's number one position. So obviously there'll be a response, but they took too long. And that's what makes this whole conversation exciting. I can't wait to see what ChatGPT does in Feb. We've just started a pro tire. We're on the verge of seeing GPT-4. We're on the verge of seeing all these partnerships is doing with Microsoft materialize. And obviously Google I/O is coming in May. So they'll
have an answer.
Google will have public facing answers to all of these things. Google is how I treat Apple. Somebody posted about what Apple is going to do with mixed reality headsets this year and all those things, and I was like, maybe we might not see it. Apple is too cautious. They iterate a few corners of the iPhone every other year because they want everyone who renews the iPhone to keep renewing. They don't want to lose them. The same thing they do with MacBooks. They play it safe. Google has been playing it safe. I know there's a small company that comes out of nowhere with lots of funding, blows them out of the water. So it's going to be fun.
And I saw subscription actually starts from, was it $41 or?
I will not be paying any subscription. That's what I know, but I am waiting to see.
And then it's not just ChatGPT. There are lots of other small AI-based products that you can play with, including make some very rad avatars and profile pictures, all those things. ChatGPT done. It's a new year, and we are looking at new things. One of those new things, this has caught my attention. It started catching my attention towards the end of last year when you had Tanzanian news media reporting that this is the year, 2023 is the year they're going to get access to Starling. Starling is the Elon Musk company that is focused on delivering satellites.
Now that you've mentioned Elon Musk, remember Elon Musk, OpenAI is his company, Pierre.
Exactly, by the way. And he just exited the board because of conflict of interest. So and then this year the discussion has been rekindled because Starlink was expected to come to Kenya by the end of this quarter, but now we know for a definite fact it will be before the turn of quarter 2.
That's what they say on their website, but it's Elon Musk.
And also they need lots of some regulatory approvals. That's what is
pending in most African countries.
And it's what delayed the rollout in Mozambique and Nigeria. So it could be one of those things to look at. I've seen chatter on Kenyan Twitter where people are excited about Starlink. I'm here to disappoint you.
Because first the pricing is just way.
The pricing, you are looking at almost 15,000 shillings per month. But that's not the big deal. The big deal is you're paying about 75k for the initial cost of setting up and getting the equipment.
And in my article, I think I argued that I hope they do pricing differently for the market, which I'm not saying because the website is one. I don't think they will.
That will be kind of hard because the satellite costs are expensive. But on the other hand, it's how global companies that have a center in the West have been able to grow their bases outside
Africa,
the Western countries. Because you come with a different pricing. You sell it to me like a billionaire in San Francisco, might not work. And please don't think you will sit somewhere in 𝐭𝐿𝐴𝐡 and use Starling. Over there, you have access to fiber to the home. It's a much better option. Starlink is nice if you decide for some reason to move 80 kilometers
north.
To your rural home where there's no fixed internet and you have to rely to mobile data. All these 5G home plans, 4G home plans we were discussing the other day, which might be spotty. So Starlink might make sense. And if you're a business person or an individual, your turnover per month needs to be such a way that it covers that cost and you don't feel it. Because otherwise, for me, paying 3 times what I pay right now for internet is something I'll feel.
What I was thinking is, if according to Starlink, they're available from June, and certain business with capital, because currently the internet market in Kenya, the ISP market in Kenya is not very favorable, even for existing players. So if you have a few startups get into the space and decide to resell this internet, you could be looking at disruptions in certain urban areas where fiber is not available. Take a town, say Voi.
Can I surprise you with one thing? You know, Posta has had something like this for ages.
They are just
the
not
Posta
offering
Visa
it.
has been there.
Do you know also 𝐭𝐞𝐴 Power is going big in that as well with the
Kenya Power can say everything they want to say. Once we see those cables actually providing internet is when we can be confident. What I'm arguing is, say a town, let's go to Voi because I've been in Voi and vitu kama hivyo bado haviko, and someone sets up a business where they pay Elon Musk 75k for the route acquisition and all that, and they decide to resell to hotels and all that. That's already a form of business where if they charge them 3k 4k, they're making a profit and disrupting sort of the market that would have been there. So I think with better pricing and with reselling, we will see a different sort of ecosystem in the internet space. Yeah,
but one thing I was reading about, I mean we also have an option of pre-ordering. I don't know, pre-ordering the service, $99 I think.
Hizo zote unajua, anytime you see pre-orders, especially in the UK market, wachana na Kenya where pre-orders are lies, anytime you see pre-orders, these are companies looking for quick loans with no interest fees. So Elon Musk,
It's like off-plan housing.
so you're given a loan and there's no interest. So that's what they are looking for in that way. Yeah.
Now, talking about pre-orders, one device went on pre-order and launched. The second generation Phantom X series, the Techno Phantom
brand.
Hapo umefanya LTT zile
Segway.
Segway.
Okay.
Techno sub-brand.
Yeah, I was with all of you at the launch. So, one, what are your thoughts about everything Phantom?
X2 Pro.
Everything Phantom.
Phantom X2 5G. Phantom X2 Pro 5G.
Yeah.
To be very honest,
Sing after me.
yes. To be very honest, I'll give Techno Plus for this device. Like, they really tried. They really gave it their all for this.
I have mine. It's still in the box. I cannot comment, but
I've been using it.
October last year I interacted.
Actually, yesterday.
I interacted with I don't know if it was the Pro, the 5 or the 5G normal version. Anyway, as a prototype, and I think what I don't like is the design, but the cameras that I interacted with, even at launch, look quite promising. Yes, my issue with Techno remains, and I say this in every review: software, but hardware wameshafika.
You know, I've used Nick's Phantom X2 in the car, and hardware wamefika. I'm waiting delivery of mine later in the day today, so I can't wait. I haven't used the software. I was at the launch and I didn't bother with the demo area, but the hardware is fantastic.
The hardware imefika.
Like, like you feel like like slap any other logo. I've seen all the negative talk about that device, but slap any other logo and people will rush for it. Actually, it reminded me of a device we also went for its launch. It's a cheaper version of the Hasselblad Oppo. Remember? It was
the Find X3.
It had a similar back.
It was carved.
Like it's
the one they were asking 100k for.
Yeah, no, that wasn't nope. It was 105,000 shillings.
Yes.
Nope. If you have to pay for such an experience, pay Techno, because they're offering something almost similar. You have a waterfall display, like it's fantastic.
The hardware is really good.
Yeah.
My issue remains software, and I hope they listen to us. Hiyo ndio shida ya Techno. Because if you're going to slap software that you slap on a 15k phone to cover margins, don't do that on a 80k phone. I understand when there are ads on a 15k phone. That phone probably costs 12k or 13k to make, and you're only selling it at a 2k profit. But sasa hii ni phone ya 83k. Let's say they made it for 50k. That's 30k profit. Yeah, so remove all the ads. Offer me software updates. I saw at the launch they have a partnership with Google, but the phone does not come with Android 13 out of the box. It comes with Android 12. Android 13 has been out for how many months? Yeah.
No, they do say they're going to support it through to Android 14.
Yes.
Which is Android 14 is dropping later in the year.
So unaona, that's the problem. If Techno can give me 3 years of updates, just 3. Samsung wako 5 sahi. Oppo wako 4. Try and do updates better, and because Google has done everything to make updates more seamless. Sindio? With all ile project ilikuwa inaitwaje? Project yenye ilijaribu ku make updates easier. What was it? Treble or something? Nimesahau.
Yeah, there have been too many projects. There was Bata, which removed the starters. There's been Treble.
Yes.
I think it's Treble, because Treble worked on if I'm not wrong, dismantling the way updates are done.
Yes. So it separates the hardware
separating the core
from the Android. So it means if a company wants to roll out an update, it's way easier. I think Techno should invest on software and they will have the market.
Good. Now, something else that is having the market this month, and which I don't know if you guys covered it, but it's been all over the news media, tech news media. Apple decided to start the year with a bang, I think almost literally. So we are getting to see the new Apple SoC, the new Apple Silicon that they debuted towards the end of last year. That is the M2 Pro Max, M2 Pro and the M2 Max, making their way to new devices. So we have a bunch like the MacBook Pro lineup now has in its entirety been updated to the new chips, because before then we only had the 13-inch MacBook Pro, which didn't change in shape or anything. They just slapped a new chipset in there. And as far as I'm concerned, the 13-inch MacBook Pro is the odd child that no one should give attention to. It's never made sense. There's an all-powerful MacBook Air before it, and that's the only thing that makes sense. If you want MacBook Pro, just go to the 14-inch. Now the 14-inch no longer just has the M1 Pro, and it now has the M2.
M2 Pro, M2
Max
Pro, M2 Max.
And then the Mac Mini too.
The Mac Mini now has M2 Max and M2 Pro.
And then we have something that I think if it's within your means, you probably should be. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made. The HomePod gets a new lease of life. It's back. That news of what?
We're to Android Kenya, by the way.
I appreciate good things. And if you're being honest, the Google Home Nest Max or whatever
was a bad product.
Nah,
it was
looked
so big.
Bad. Like my HomePod has never felt out of place on my nightstand. It looks in place. It has the best sound. Like there's no need to keep a sound bar or another home theater system in your
and it's bedroom. like the new is like $300.
Yeah, it fits right in. It's in a good color if you want the white. If you want the black, like it fits right in. It has the best sound. Serious crap, but yeah, you can put up with her. Apple Music will be supported, and I hope Apple has for long told us they are doing Spotify integration. It's never come directly.
I've read somewhere that Apple already released the framework for Spotify integration. It's Spotify who has refused to integrate that framework into their system.
I'd also refuse if you take 30% of my that. Anyway, we are getting to that 30% because the other people who act by it, and all that still happening in January. So those products. Anyone buying a HomePod?
Not now.
Or me, I will. Me, I saw that you remember there's a time last year, but when I asked you if you're selling, I don't know what you tweeted, and I thought you were selling your HomePod.
Yeah, I was clearing the boxes I've kept for so long. I usually keep boxes because in the end I sell a lot of the tech I consume. But by the time I was disposing of my box of the HomePod, I had come to the realization that I love this thing so much, I'll never sell it. So I can throw away the box. No one is buying it.
So me at the launch, I watched it and said, I'm getting.
And you should. I know it has a bigger screen up top.
It does nothing.
It does nothing, but it's how you have an iPad, right? It's how you connect.
You connect.
And those animations it does, especially when it can't figure out a connection, they're nice. Your internet is not working, but hey, look at this here.
Like it's all working right now.
Yeah. So something else that happened in January, I also don't know if you covered this, but the extended support for Windows 8.1 ended.
I didn't cover that.
So if you have a Windows 8.1 or a machine running Windows 8.1 somewhere, it's about time you upgraded to Windows 10, or as Microsoft will want, to Windows 11. The problem is Windows 11 has strict requirements. You can still download an ISO from a flash drive and do it your own way, but as per Microsoft's recommendation, older machines got tabani for various reasons and all of those things. But
so the move hata sijui umemention ISO ndio nikakumbuka we used to install software that way. Hey my god.
It was fun while it lasted. Anyway, that ended, and something else that ended is the term of John Ngumi at Safaricom. So one of the things we are looking forward to seeing in February is an appointment of a new board chairman for Safaricom. John Ngumi exited, so that's a chapter closed, and followed a trend that had been set in December, and this has been going on the last few days, where the new government is replacing a lot of the heads they found of the various statutory bodies, parastatals, and also companies where the government is a shareholder or has significant interest, like Safaricom now. In December, we had Mary Wambui taking over at the Communications Authority, which is the industry regulator. So
that was a very
anyway,
let's not talk about
yeah. So moving on swiftly, we've just talked about ChatGPT, but do you know who trained ChatGPT? Kenyans. Yeah. If you are listening to this podcast and you use Mombasa Road to commute,
you probably
Apo Samia Business Park, you usually see Sama. So yeah, Sama has been in the news lately because in January they were in the news because the news came out that they had terminated their contract or their partnership with Facebook. Meta had ended, and Meta had hired them. Sama does AI labeling. So AI labeling is just getting
as many items as possible.
Yeah, to be understood by these machines and being to be processed. So images, when you go on Google Photos and you type snow, and then Google Photos is able to surface all photos that have snow. It's not because it's some magic. AI functions like humans. The reason why we spend so many years being taught in school and then come to apply is because that's how our brains work. We acquire all this stuff and then we put them into practice. AI does the same training. So a lot of the training for AI systems actually happens right within our doorstep. There are lots of young people who work for SAMA, and a good number of them used to do AI labeling for Facebook. If you go and post all those nasty photos people post on Facebook, Facebook's AI is automatically able to flag them and delete the post. Even before it goes to a content moderator. How did it know? It got trained to identify blood by people in Kenya. It got trained to identify your nude pictures from people in Kenya. So while someone was in the process of doing that, Facebook reached out to them and told them, hey, what if you guys also became our moderators? Yeah, and for the last 2 years, they've been doing content moderation for Facebook, and that now ends in March. Yeah, Facebook is Meta is now switching to a Luxembourg-based company called Majorel. Yeah, I don't know if that name is pronounced that way.
They actually have a local office here.
Yeah, and they're hiring. I saw on LinkedIn.
I remember posting that story on my LinkedIn page. Then a friend of mine reached out, hey, at least we got a client. I'm like, okay, what do you mean you got a client? I mean, Meta came to us. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Majorel as a local subsidiary, fully registered, and all those things. So that's happening. Now, why we are mentioning them, they were in the news this month for that, but also something else, ChatGPT. Same people are the ones who've been training ChatGPT. And the bone of contention here, because Time magazine has run both stories. It's the one that ran the whistleblower story about how people have their mental health messed up from the content moderation they have to do. They're the ones who came face to face with all the nudity, child porn, all the bloody, like all those, after an accident, people rush to post things on Facebook.
Pictures,
We've had suicide cases live on Facebook Live, all those things. There's somebody who looks at that and flags it and removes it. So those have been Kenyans and they've been poorly paid. That's been the story. So that's one thing. Another thing I was forgetting that happened in January, because now that we've talked about a local subsidiary for Majorel, we have a local subsidiary for a global network communications company that set up shop here, Aristel. It's a Canadian telco.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it's been
I heard about that, but nothing else.
It's been a Safaricom client. They've been around for a while, and now they want to take on some of the clients they've been working, like Safcom, Telcom, and then people were excited. And they are a mobile network, and I've seen the excitement online that Safaricom is finally getting competition. A lot of that is ahead of its time and is misinformed. Those guys are focused purely on enterprises. So if you have a bunch of VoIP phones and all of those things, they can give you nice packages for your company, set you up. Exactly. Those kinds of things. They are more on the internet calling side of things. Maybe with time they might expand,
get into.
but I covered it, and it's one of the more popular stories on 100 Kenya this month. Good. Another local thing. This requires an acquisition. and I think Nick, I saw you cover this.
Oh yeah,
Quora,
the
acquiring IRNet.
InsurTech startup, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
InsurTech is a fintech. No.
It's a fintech.
A fintech, yeah.
Yeah, it acquired IRNet, which is it's a software company which was a subsidiary of 𝐭𝐿𝐴.
Yeah.
Yeah, 𝐭𝐿𝐴 is the umbrella body for SACCOs in Kenya, and what IRNet did at that time when the press release came in, I went to look at the website. It was down, and it was still down like days later. So I don't know. But what IRNet does is they power the software in these SACCOs around. So if you belong to a SACCO, chances are the software they use, it's manned and run by IRNet. So that was some news that was covered by the people I'm talking to this month. Now, we've talked about Elon Musk and Starling. Elon Musk also bought Twitter before the year ended, and is causing us so much grief on our favorite app. So what he did, I've been a big backer of third-party Twitter apps. On my Mac, I have Tweetbot, and I used to have Tweetbot on my iPad too. On my Android devices, I've bought Talon for Twitter. I've bought Phoenix for Twitter version 1, version 2. All of those no longer work. Third-party apps don't work on Twitter, and that's it. I don't know what your reactions to that are.
I have never used a third-party app in a very long time. I used to use Flamingo. I think I bought Flamingo while in campus. Then I just switched to Twitter for Android, and I've relied on that. But what I can say on the same topic is that you can't build, or it is continuously appearing that you can't build your company or business model around another company, because they can wake up and switch you off.
Everybody said just close shop.
Yep. So third-party Twitter clients are dead.
I saw some of the guys who actually build the apps, sending already tweets complaining how this is going to affect. I mean, they have spent so many years building the apps, and now.
Anyway, we are done with that. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? Our podcast is very tech focused, much as we tend to lean so much on the consumer side, and we don't handle the development side. So if you are a developer and all, unless you're interested in what's happening in tech and you're already not up to date, most of the times we don't talk to you. But today we're going to talk to you, but not about the things you're coding, about you being fired. So that's happening. That's happening.
Yeah.
There's been a recent hiring spree, like much of 2020, 2021, 22, and there's been the rise of quote unquote, much as it's a derogatory, but it's been used favorably, tech bros in Kenya. Yeah, and right now being a quote unquote tech bro is the in thing, but that has come at a cost, because the so-called tech bros are hired by some of the biggest tech companies in the world. When you say biggest, you have the most valued and the likes. So you have Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, Google, Intel, those like Salesforce, lots of those. And over something has been happening quietly since the turn of the third quarter of 2022, and everything has come to its head in 2023, the first quarter. That is layoffs. The numbers are not so significant, even though they are for some startups. Some have shed as much as half their talent, but the big companies are doing single-digit numbers, and the most extreme I've seen is 11% by Facebook, and there's been 10%, but that's it. Others are doing 6%.
Google is laying off 12,000 people.
So as a percentage, those numbers. So this is happening. I don't know
what is funny is these companies are not taking inaitwaje. You remember when Twitter laid off people and fired the whole team in Ghana, masijui nini, and everyone was on Elon Musk's case. Funny enough, podcast, most of the things leo ni Elon Musk, ChatGPT, anyway. And everyone was on Elon Musk's head. Why did you acquire a company if you're going to lay off? And here we have companies, just before they announced their books for 2023, laying off huge percentages, up to 7% of their workers, in the name of financial times in the future predicted to be hard. So it's just I think it's just a balancing of books to make insane profits.
It's a balancing of books, but when you look at it, like for example, if you go to Twitter and search the Google layoffs thread, for example, you find like Google is firing like it was
All the
targeting their
people.
all these. Someone has been at Google, and the way they were being fired, unamka tu asubuhi unaenda, your car is not working, you can't access you. I mean, it's just a very funny way.
But I'm sure they have benefits to it.
Yeah,
so,
they have.
People
Yes,
are being
man.
paid surveillance packages going as far ahead as 9 months in advance.
Yeah,
So,
so it's okay.
Yeah, but so
no,
someone
the treatment is not okay.
is
but
okay, but
the money is
money's
nice.
someone was
You're only
arguing
working
like,
there for the
I
money.
mean,
anyway.
we've seen Google lay off Microsoft, but why is Apple not doing the same?
Apple, if anything, actually just cut their CEO's pay.
Exactly. That's what I was like.
But it's,
But the
it's,
CEO
too early,
decided to.
it's too early in this madness to
say,
speak favorably about anyone. This could be long and drawn out because. And also, the other thing that has Apple working in its favor, Apple has never been a mad company.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I say by mad company?
It has
Doing
never gone hiring.
like doing crazy moonshots, making necessitate lots of people,
Yes.
and then going on lots of hiring sprees. You've even observed, even with some of those tech
Even in
giants
Kenya,
setting shop locally, they do lots of unnecessary hires,
Yes.
which means when push comes to shove, your head is
You
on
have
the
to
chopping
cut,
block. Yeah.
It's like just basically how media houses work. You hiring spree, then like hire people. I mean, fire people, then hire. I mean, what am I saying? Like fire, then hire. I'm like, okay, what?
Yeah, so the tech industry, and it's unfortunate because you people have seen the day in the life TikTok videos, right?
Of course. And some of those
Yeah.
have been affected.
Yeah, I've been
Most of them.
I've been seeing the LinkedIn post. They okay, it's not a laughing matter, and we're not laughing at you, but yeah, they've been there. The sad thing about this tech layoffs thing is the people it's affecting. It's the first time that my generation and those after me, I'm a millennial, and the people after me are mostly Generation Z. It's the first time they're being affected by such. People had gotten too cozy. These are things they used to read about for the few that read. There are things they used to hear about from their parents. There are things they never thought they would affect them. And the salaries in tech are so crazy, you almost thought you were insulated from this kind of thing, There's been this popular saying by young guys, they don't deal with politics and all those things. If there's anything you're learning from the tech layoffs, is that it pays to be in a country that holds such companies to account, that has proper labor laws,
Yes.
all of those things. Because there's absolutely no way. It's a terrible way of treating people. You wake up, and how you find out you've been fired is you can't access Slack,
your email.
you can't access your email. And here's the interesting bit. Your termination things have been sent to that email anyway.
So you will only learn about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, you can't even say goodbye to your colleagues. All those things are things that the law will do a good way of protecting you from. And if you're in a country that values its people, those are things that your representative will legislate against. So for the young people, it's a lesson one. These things can happen, they can happen to you. But two, you need to take a good look at what's happening around you. If you're in a country like Kenya and your MP keeps taking money from what the world calls big tech, it means representation in parliament will be affected. Or if they are in a powerful subcommittee, how they speak might be more for the big tech, than for you. So you need to have a voice. You need to elect people who will speak for you. While you earn your big tech salary that allows you to buy a fancy Audis to drive around in Nairobi, it also matters, bros. It also matters to have people who can look after your back, because the Twitter layoffs came home. It affected countries in Africa. Guys in Ghana are affected, and I could see the depressing LinkedIn post. Talking about LinkedIn, there's been a Kenyan who's gone viral about the Amazon layoffs in Europe.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you see, such kinds of things require, now at least for the young ones, we get to learn the hard way, and we get to recalibrate how we think, because older generation had the .com crash. Like all the generation of tech workers, this is not exactly new to them. They've switched to jobs, they've done everything. They didn't do day in the life TikToks, all of those things. Anyway,
in a life ilikuwa imekuudhi sana.
It flew in the face of traditional HR practices. As much as we are a younger, newer generation, we are more woke, we are more activist oriented and all those things. The way the system is set up is not set up to favor you. I think I've exhausted the list of things we've covered in 2023. I don't know what else I've left.
That we will be talking about loop in an upcoming podcast.
No, we can talk about it now, but we'll expand. We'll talk about loop in a whole specific episode, because we've praised the loop in this podcast.
A lot of
praise, praise that they earned, but now they're working so hard
to lose
to lose that flex. Because we are shooting this podcast a day after Loop premiered a
new system,
new Loop app.
It is
after locking us out for an entire weekend because they are doing an upgrade, and that upgrade
weird.
has been crap.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
I'll be like Kiruti. Do we really need a super app? Also, we'll have an episode on the new Samsung devices.
Yes, we haven't talked about, but I think I've covered, and some of you have covered here, that the launch is happening February 1st.
Very fast, yes.
Yeah,
And
so we are going to get to see the Galaxy S23 series. So that's the Galaxy S23, then the Pro and the Ultra. We had rumors that the Pro won't be coming. What we know so far is the Pro is coming, and the Ultra has this boxy shape, ukirushia mtu inaweza kugonga ikurarue. All those things. We'll talk about that new device. We'll have hands on and all those in the probably the second podcast of 2023 before we do our February roundup. But we'll love to hear what your reactions to this podcast are, what your feedback is, what you think are some of the things that we should do this year, and all of those things. Thank you for listening to us. I've been your host Chenze Emmanuel.
Dickson Otieno
and Kanali.
See you next time.